Hi guys, in this tutorial series we'll be going over how to do pixel art characters, portraits, animated sprites and such. So first up is portraits. Alright, so how I start is basically just blocking out everything in Photoshop with a technique sort of discussed in my previous tutorial. I'll link it in the below bar. So these characters are from one of my games called A Fistful of Gun. Now you can check that out on my website if you want to play it. So pretty much all my process starts here in Photoshop. Now for the most part these characters are pretty basic. They're basically a square. They sort of have a square head with ears coming out and everything, all the details are almost just placed on, so it's a real sort of cartoony style. And for the most part this won't gel with anything realistic or anything like that, but hopefully you get some of the technicals out of this tutorial about how I turn this into pixel art. So there's many reasons to do it in Photoshop rather than starting in pixels. It's a lot more flexible. You can change a lot of details really quickly, and while you're still working in this rough concept phase. And I mean, this is just something that works good for me. I'm not saying it works good for everybody. I just found this to be pretty much the easiest way to start with nothing and create a pixel character. And that's definitely not traditional. Like, this is as a way to create pixel art, but it's definitely quick. Okay, let's get rid of that character. Just change him in the side. I'm not sure that's going to work. Just widen the canvas a bit. We'll just get rid of him. Alright, so once I find a character that I like, take it from a blocked out character to straight into graphic scale and start pixeling it. So the advantages to doing it this way, like I mentioned earlier, painting it in Photoshop is for a start, anyone that's seen my previous tutorial can use those methods to sort of create the base of their character, base of their concept character, and you know, work it over in Photoshop before they take it in and start pixeling. And also, it's a lot easier to pick your colors and stuff using the methods from the previous tutorial. Just block out some sort of lawman type character. I think I'm gonna go with him. Adjust it a bit. Now these characters aren't particularly realistic. For the most part, they're just squares with ears coming out of their, the sides of them. So if you're looking for something more realistic, then this probably isn't the tutorial. This is definitely focusing on just cartoony characters that fit the style of Fistful of Gun, which is the game that this is being made for. So just keep that in mind. Now, someone asked how I match colors and stuff. I actually just hold Alt and click in Photoshop, and it brings up the picker, color picker. And it's a great way to match colors. See that I've got three characters already done from the game. It's a great way to sort of pick up shades from them and use them on the new characters if I need to. Just get rid of that character. It didn't really turn out. And you get that a lot. Like, a lot of the time your concepts will just look shit. This guy's quite cool. Guy with a kind of, I guess, Mexican hat. Add some details to him for now. Let's move that hat across a bit, it seems a bit lopsided. Again, just throwing down some overlay layers to get a bit of colour happening, change his skin tint a bit from the rest of them. Alright, I think he's pretty good. Let's just run with this character, and for the rest of the tutorial we'll paint him up and turn him into a sprite. Alright, so this is sometime later, after I just sort of did a few more characters on each side, but I'm fairly happy with him still. I just thought I'd do a few more just behind the scenes to see if we could get anything sort of different happening, but I think he'll do. He sort of illustrates the style fairly well. So just going to grab him in a second, just cut him out. Get his proportions just rough to the other finished three. Just refining that hat a bit. Okay, so I've down-resed everything. This is my final file. There's some kind of secret characters that I guess everybody just saw then. But this is my final file at a third res, so I paint everything at 3 times res. And what I do when it gets down res is I just do a basic cleanup on stuff that may need it before I do before I take it to graphic scale. So again, this isn't traditional in any way. This is probably the most untraditional way to do it possible. So I bring it into graphic scale and I just kill some of the colors. I bring it down to about, I think the default's 256, but I just let it sort of pick maximum colors and just start cleaning it up really. I start with 256 and then we'll work back to 16 eventually, and hopefully by the end we've got like a pretty low color palette on this thing. The first step I usually do is outline the overall shape with some sort of dark line, usually black, but it doesn't have to be black. So, outline everything just roughly, make sure it looks good as a shape. Some exceptions are, face and stuff like that, where it kind of looks alright already, so I don't really need to lay too much lining down to get it to the final product. Things that will need work are his cloak and his hat. They're still kind of really messy. Alright, now you can see me just using the 1 pixel brush just to clean up some of those colors, just unify them a bit. So again, I said this last time too, this isn't necessarily the best way to do it, but it's a way that works for me, and it's definitely not traditional. So if you're looking for a more traditional look to your pixel art, then there's heaps of great tutorials for that already. I don't really need to cover that. But if you're looking for a kind of a new way to do it that incorporates Photoshop a little bit more, and this is a really good way to do it, I found anyway. So just reducing all the colors down. Like I said, we're going to sort of finish with about 16, maybe 20 sort of colors once we're done. Not that it really matters. I mean, games nowadays can, you know, support millions, so it's not really an issue or anything, but just to get some of that authentic look back. Alright, so we're back in Photoshop now. I'm just cleaning up the hat. Wasn't quite happy with the kind of the shape of it, the shading on it, I guess. And while I could do this in pixel art, it takes like, you know, 10 seconds in Photoshop. Sometimes I use a pixel brush in Photoshop just to, I guess, see what it looks like and try and get some interesting harsh edges on things, and I'll clean that up back in graphic scale. It's still very messy, but a lot of that will just come with a bit of cleanup down the road. Alright, we're back in graphic scale. So what you want to be doing is actually very similar to the first painting tutorial I did. You want to be picking colors around. Say you need shadows from around, you want to unify all those shadow colors by picking shadows that are, you know, similar, that are, you know, within the region of whatever you're painting, and then you know, using them there also. And your lining around the edge of the character is actually really important. For the most part, you want to stick to straight lines, like either up or down or 45 degrees. If you have to make shapes that are sort of beyond that, try and keep them clean so they sort of they space evenly, so you don't have like you know, a 1 step down, then a 3 step down, and a 1 step down, and a 4 step down. Try and keep your lines clean if possible. You can see here that I'm just doing that now, refining some of those lines. Just re-adding those highlights. Now, as far as graphic scale, why I use graphic scale is I really like just the layout and stuff. You don't actually have to use graphic scale. There's plenty of other good alternatives, and you can even do it in Photoshop. The preview window is really helpful, and you know, like the right click and left click functionality of graphic scale is excellent also. Okay, now you can see here I've changed some of those black highlights into a lighter color to sort of reflect that the light is sort of hitting from top down. You know, the shadows underneath retain some of their dark lines, but the ones on the top are much lighter. Okay, so I think he's looking pretty good now. So next time we'll be animating him and creating an in-game sprite. So we'll be doing like a smaller version, you know, which is in-game, and I'll go through the animation process, how I animate this in graphic scale, and how we create sort of smaller sprite versions of him with, you know, loads of animations and run cycles and stuff. So stay tuned next time, and thanks for watching.